I'm over here in the front of my shop by the forklift truck, or where the forklift truck gets stored. And as any of you know that follow the haul truck video, you will know that this is one of the fuel tanks off of the haul truck. And it had to get pressed into service. But I will explain why I had to press it into service in a shop update. So I told you that I would give you another haul truck video. So let this be the intro to part 53 of the haul truck. Now, again, I told you that I would do it. There isn't a lot that has been done on the haul truck, but I did have some stuff in the can from previous work that I had done on the haul truck. But let me consider this the intro to part 53, haul truck. I will come back and explain more later. One of the other things that I've got going on in the shop is this is a head off of the 8.3 Cummins, and I've got it over here. Okay, let me interject this here. For those of you that are new to the channel or have forgotten because it's been a long time since I worked on the 8.3 that is going in the haul truck, when I disassembled it, there was a couple of things that happened to the head. First off, 3 of the exhaust studs broke off, and this is what I'm doing in here right now, is showing you trying to remove those exhaust studs. The other thing is some of the injectors broke, and parts of the injector are still stuck in the port, and that's another thing that has to be done with the 8.3 head. Now, it's not going to be done in this video. All I'm going to do is be working on the exhaust studs in this video, but I just wanted to interject this little clip here because it's been a long time since any work has been done on the 8.3, and people that are new or people that are forgotten might not know what I'm talking about here with these broken exhaust studs. What I did is I got some left-handed drill bits and I set it up and centered it on the first broken exhaust port stud there and drilled it. I didn't videotape it, I just drilled it hoping that the left-hand drill bit would pull it out as it bored into it, but it didn't. You know, I was hoping, but in the back of my mind I kind of knew it wouldn't. Exhaust studs are a bitch to get out. You know, I mean, the heating process of the exhaust ports kind of bakes them in there, and you're not going to get it. It'd be very unlikely that you got it out with a left-hand drill bit, but hope upon hope that I kind of figured that it might work, but it didn't. I'll take you over. I've got another one to do over here. Gonna move the bed over and I'll show that to you when I do it. Again, it didn't take it out. Let me go get a little stool to stand on so I can look over the top. Just clean the threads up with a tap, and when I put the new studs in, I'll use anti-seize on it. Something to get those pieces out with. Bring you back. Okay, so in the other part of this video on the haul truck, I'm going to be discussing the fabrication of the parts for the air suspension on the rear of the truck. And what you're going to see me doing first is building this plate, well, milling it. Actually, I had to, there's whole pins in the top of the axle. There's that pin, and there's also a pin on the bottom of the spring. So what I had to do is drill holes. I did it on the mill. They're slightly offset because that's the way the pins fall. The pins are slightly different, and this has been discussed in a previous haul truck episode about the pins in relationship to the axle. On the old axle, the pins were set back. As you see on this axle, the pins are set forward. So I couldn't reuse the, well, to build the air suspension, I have to make these components. I couldn't reuse the components off of the old axle because I'm going to be building air suspension off of it. So what you're going to see me doing is drilling these holes for the pin. And then we'll get into another issue. But let me go to that clip right now. Okay, this is that plate that I'm doing for the axle on the haul truck. And I just wanted to show you how I'm doing it. What I'm doing is boring holes in the plate to set over a pin. Pin that's on the top of the axle, pin that's on the bottom of these leaf springs. So what I'm doing is starting out with a 1/4 inch pilot bit, drilling down. The hole has to be a 1/2 inch deep. I'm drilling down 1/2 inch with the pilot bit, follow it up with a, well, it's not a 3/4, it's actually 11/16 drill bit. And then what I'm doing is augering it out, because the drill bit leaves a taper at the bottom of the hole, and I want it flat so that the pin looks like a little button type pin, so it's got a flat surface on it. I want it to set flat in the hole, so I take that bottom of the taper out of the hole, or the taper out of the bottom of the hole with a end mill. So I just go in there, flatten the hole out afterwards. I just thought I'd show that to you, part of a shop update. I'm over here at the mill, and just kind of a brief update on the haul truck. I've cut the plate for one side. I've drilled the bottom hole in it and expanded it out so it fits over the pin. What I'm going to do now is drill the top hole, which is going to be offset a little bit. Apparently the pins on the axle might be, the new axle might be just a shade, and when I say a shade, less than 1/4 inch narrower than the pins on the springs. So anyways, I'm offsetting the top one just a little bit. What I did is I drilled the bottom one, put it on there, and then what I did is centered it with a square, the top pin, as it came down onto the plate. I squared it and then took the center of that, and as I said before, I'm going to offset it just a shade. I've got the angles marked on here where it's going to go. What I've got to do is, once I get this hole drilled, I'll bring it down so that the pin is recessed back down into the hole and get the angle. I know the angle of the axle that I've got it set at, so what I'm going to do is, because the axle and the bottom of the spring are not perfectly on the same plane where I want it, I'm going to miter this thing a little bit, and I will show that to you when I do it. But anyways, there is work being done on the haul truck. Okay, so I kind of showed you that, and if you were paying attention to the piece on the bed of the mill, you will notice that there was a marking on it. What that marking was is a 45-degree angle. And you're going to look at this piece that's down here, and you're going to say, that's not a 45-degree angle. what my original intention had been to do was come out of this thing at a 45-degree angle and come up under the frame here. Well, okay. You're probably thinking to yourself, you idiot, you can't put a 45-degree angle on there. So you're going to see a mistake here. And it is a little bit of, not a real big costly mistake, but it was a costly mistake. And I still, you know, things have been going on in the shop, and the new truck, new trailer, everything else, trying to get it all prepped and ready to go. Well, it's going, but getting it all prepped the way I want it is consuming a lot of time, plus other things, hauls, little things that come into the shop, helping my grandson on some things. It all consumes a lot of time. But let me dive right into it, and I'm going to show you my screw up. You know, sometimes you just do things impulsively, and you really don't think it through. And I did that when I laid out be it the driver's side, starting on the air suspension. I cut a 45-degree angle on it, thinking that I was going to offset it over to 45. But when I cut a 45-degree angle and you cut another 45-degree angle, you get a 90. So it offset it right into under the frame that way. And I'm thinking, okay, that's no issue. I'll just do a 22 on it. So I cut a 22 on it, but the problem with that is that I cut it's on the wrong side. The 22, I cut it at the same angle as the 45, and it would actually have to be flipped over, and then when this piece is cut at a 22, it would go like that. So this would be cut at a 22, but this would offset. So I would be welding into a side piece here, and that would be offset into there. The issue with that is, and again, impulsively, I just cut this at a 22-degree angle. The problem with it is, it brings it too far back. I don't want the airbag back that far before I get to the frame. So let me rethink this thing. I'll bring you back and tell you what I'm going to do, how I'm going to do it. The other problem that this presented is that rear U-bolt that holds the springs and the axle and everything together comes pretty close to this junction. And I'm not sure, there's going to be welds there. I'm not sure if that would fit. So I'm really going to have to rethink this thing. This might be a scrap piece here. But let me rethink it. Let me spend some time giving it some thought, figuring out what I wanted to do, what I'm going to do, and where I want that bag in relationship to the back of the frame. So I'll bring you back, but another little Freddy fuck up. Okay, I told you I'd bring you back, and I told you that I would explain a couple of things. Actually, I'm going to explain 3 things. You heard me talk about this was made for the driver's side, and you saw it over here on the passenger side. Well, after a couple of days, and it did turn out to be, it's been almost a month since this has happened. After a couple of days, what I did was, and thinking about it, I brought it over here to the passenger side, knowing that the pins on between the spring and the axle on the passenger side were not identical in relationship to each other were not identical to the pin relationship on the driver's side between the spring and the axle. But I thought maybe, and I talked about this thing being I had cut it the wrong way. So I had cut the 22-degree angle the wrong way on the other one, which actually threw it out away from the frame, not towards the frame. So I thought to myself, well, if I bring it over here, maybe I can use it here and get them pins to work. And so that's why I did this. Now the second thing that I talked about, that I told you that I was going to bring up in here, is the angle being too far back for the airbag. That's not exactly true. I could live with where it ends up. It would end up back in here someplace. I can live with that. What the issue is I have U-bolts that's got to go over this thing. When that spring comes down and gets centered into that pin, the U-bolt's got to come down, and what would happen is the U-bolt would pass this plate in a location where the weld would be on that 22-degree angle, 22.5-degree angle. In other words, when I cut this, originally I cut it for a 45-degree angle, having it way back here. And when I cut the 22, it extended it way in towards the axle. And I don't really want that U-bolt crossing the weld location on this plate. I would rather have virgin plate, unwelded virgin plate, where the U-bolt goes down through, and have the weld behind that, or proud of that U-bolt. So that's kind of where I am. And because I only bought enough material for that other way, and this piece is probably going to be scrapped now, I don't really have enough of this material. So I'm going to have to go out and get material. But again, I've got to get into it. I told you I haven't really worked on the haul truck very much recently because of everything that's going on, and I told you kind of everything that was going on. So I had two issues. I had this issue that I really wanted to kind of ponder a little bit because I screwed up, because I got kind of complacent and kind of ahead of myself, and really didn't think things through when I laid those angles out. You know, I got to tell you, I'm kind of an idiot for it. I've really got to say that, because again, you can learn things, mechanical things, but you sometimes you've really got to think before you, instead of just jumping into it. In here, a little more thought process would have saved me a lot of time and a lot of, well, let's not say a lot of money. That plate really isn't that expensive, but a lot of time. But anyways, we'll get it fixed. Again, probably not going to be a lot done on it in the near future because of everything else that's going on in the shop, but it will get done. Thanks for watching, guys. Hit that like button, subscribe. If you guys have screwed up like I did, leave a comment. Tell me about it. Make me feel a little better.